There have been a lot of reports popping up over the last week or so around accessory makers creating Switch 2 listings for things like cases or screen protectors, and it even has now got to the point where there are renders that are out there that kind of figure some of these manufacturers took matters in their own hands and sort of mocked them up themselves to show off their casing. But nonetheless, it feels like many different companies right now, or again, accessory makers, people are listing these things, are kind of announcing Nintendo's system before they are, as they do appear to have correct measurements, at least for these different cases. Well, something odd has happened here, because now we're talking about a pretty big brand, a really well-known brand that has thrown their hat in the ring, and they went ahead and announced their own case, and even has now gone as far as to have the CEO on record saying that they're technically showing us the Switch 2 in the advertising, and we're going to go over that here today. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure that like button and subscribe if you're new. Now, this brand, the reason I'm asking, are they trolling Nintendo, is because they are known for that. They would make fun of their customer base on places like Twitter, and it's more or less just like tongue-in-cheek, just sort of just having fun, roasting people, that kind of thing, right? And they were well known for that for a while. They kind of backed off on that a little bit, but they still kind of have that more informal messaging to consumers. But still, when this popped up, all right, so this is from Dbrand. Okay, they said, we'll not be answering any questions at this time. And as I mentioned, I kind of view them more as like just sort of trolling and having some fun. As for one well-known example was the situation between them and Sony when it came to the PlayStation 5 with the side panels, the plates. They had made plates. Others had too. It was a couple people did it. And Sony was like cease and desisting because of the plates being a little too close to their official ones. So Dbrand like went back to the drawing board, changed some things up, and came up with the dark plates that did look different enough, and it had the vents on the side. But remember, they spent a while and had dedicated multiple web pages leading up to the product's release, making fun of Sony, poking at them when it came to their lawyers and that sort of stuff. So again, they're known to sort of have this kind of approach. But you can see this this casing right here, diagonal, covering up. I mean, it says it's supposed to say kill switch, but kill switch, and then it's Switch 2. So naturally, see that you sort of see this like the U-shaped design for the kickstand that we believe to be the case for the Switch 2, based on renderings and mock-ups and drawings. And you go, oh, is that a case for the Switch 2? Because originally I looked at this and said, well, they're playing into all the stuff happening right now online around this, and they've made a case for the current Switch that maybe does have this U-shaped kickstand, and it's funny, it's the Kill Switch 2. It's not actually for the Switch 2, it's for your current system. Turns out that's not the case. Apparently, this is for the Switch 2, and again, when I saw that, I said, oh, okay, again, they're just playing around with this. It's not actually a thing. Well, over on their website, this is what they have up right now. They have an email address here. You notify me. And as this thing is spinning, I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, well, there's Neon Joy-Cons. This is just the regular Switch. Well, it'll come back around, and it actually has the two buttons here. So the current thing with Nintendo's next system, again, there's so much information we seem to kind of know about it already, which is, it's funny because Nintendo really hasn't done that much, other than they put out the tweet that it has backwards compatibility, which is good news, and that we'll know more about it by the end of March. So it's like we're getting a lot of this information from other sources. In this case, that extra button that's under the home button that we have, and it seems to be labeled as the C button, which a lot of theories around what that's supposed to do. Some are wondering if it's a way to shortcut to communicating maybe with other Switch 2 systems. So ways to maybe do more social interactions if there are people around you. There's also the idea that maybe it's an advanced sharing feature, something else they've come up with to go alongside of the typical screenshot button or video capture button. Or maybe it's to cast. So like if you have the dock hooked up to your TV, you're sitting on the couch, you press that button, and it goes into like 2-screen display mode, so you can mimic the Wii U or the DS or the 3DS, that 2-screen display that they attempted with the Wii U but couldn't quite get it figured out. Well, maybe that's the big step that really differentiates it from the current Switch. But nonetheless, the whole thing here is we have accessory makers that are doing casing, that are doing screen protectors, and as you're seeing here, even Dbrand getting in on the action. Even so, I saw this. Yeah, they're maybe okay. They see the mock-ups. It's behind sort of this frosted plastic, so you can't quite see it. They're not necessarily telling us that that's the Switch 2 in there. Well, they told Insider Gaming, which is kind of hard to see here. You can move it over. The CEO has confirmed to Insider Gaming that the actual design of the Switch 2 is what's in the case in the animations. Says that is correct. It is a Switch 2 with our Kill Switch case on it. Similar in principle to our Kill Switch for Steam Deck, ROG Ally, and ROG Ally X. Apparently that's the Switch 2 right there. And this has caught a lot of people off guard, obviously. So other outlets also reached out to them because, okay, so for some reason you're talking about the Switch 2. Let's see what else they can tell us. And this is over on the Verge. I mean, you can see the headline, the Switch 2 as described by Dbrand. Because they actually went a bit more in depth with this entire thing outside of what Insider Gaming got there. And they asked the CEO to be sure. Okay, they're reasonably confident in its case. It says that the Dbrand has actual dimensions, and it's not an educated guess. It's based on a 3D scan of real hardware. When we asked how he knows that, he said, nice try, Nintendo. So, interesting. Apparently somebody got a hold of it and was able to do a 3D scan of it. I mean, there's factory leaks all the time. We know this. We've seen it in action. I don't know if this is the case of somebody just putting the dimensions out there. Although, again, there are a lot of accessory makers on like Alibaba and stuff that are already selling things for this system that has not officially been shown or announced yet technically. But they even go over the spec sheet. So we have like the first Switch here that shows the previous handheld is 242 millimeters wide, 102 millimeters tall, and 13.9 millimeters thick. Say the Switch 2 should be about 270 millimeters wide, 116 millimeters tall, and 14 millimeters thick. So the good news there is it's actually not that much thicker. I mean, we're talking 0.1 millimeters. So what your Switch is now in terms of thickness is about what you expect here from the Switch 2. But as you can see, it is wider and it is taller. So it will be a larger system, which we kind of already figured because it's supposed to be an 8-inch display. They also mentioned the kickstand here, half the console's height at around 55 millimeters, and the diagonal requirement for the glass 8-inch screen. Now, it also says that understanding the Joy-Cons are magnetically attached, so much so that with that eject button, it will allow you to remove the casing side. So while it's technically 3 pieces from what they're describing. So we have the two, if we look at the piece here, there's like these 2 pieces here, and you can see there is kind of a cutout on it. So the idea would be that you pull the Joy-Cons apart and the case will go with it. So your Joy-Cons technically would be then protected on, I guess, the back, as it looks like there's just sort of that front casing to it here that covers it in transit. So that is nice not to have to take the Joy-Con, the whole thing out of the case, just to break the Joy-Cons away. But this is a strange one. So is Dbrand trolling Nintendo? I mean, kind of. So the thing with that is they're obviously not giving them the courtesy of waiting for the system to be officially revealed, even in a trailer. If Nintendo put out a trailer and Dbrand was like, okay, cool, people know what it looks like, they see it, let's go ahead and announce our casing, that would line up more, I'd say so, on the ethics side, but just business relations side, really. But on the other side, in the free market, if you're Dbrand and you have the dimensions one way or the other, they said, nice try, Nintendo. We've talked about how it's pretty clear that if you can announce a game in a roundabout way for Nintendo's next system, if you can announce an accessory for it, it gets picked up and talked about a lot. It is a good marketing tactic. So yes, if you're Dbrand and you're confident with this, why wouldn't you announce it? That's kind of what they're doing. And the fact that they're not completely showing it to you, it's kind of blurred a bit behind that like that frosted plastic case. Yeah, it's just Dbrand doing what Dbrand does. It's really what I could tell you at this point. But it's such an odd situation to see this with Nintendo, to where accessory makers are announcing the system and attempting to show it in promotional material before it's been officially revealed. And when is Nintendo going to reveal that? Anyone's guess at this point. I don't think it's coming I think it's getting announced before Christmas for the holidays, for the end of the year. So I guess we're looking towards January. And it wouldn't shock me then if other accessory makers for cases or whatever take advantage of it and announce some of their stuff as well throughout the rest of this month. So it probably won't be the last one here with Dbrand, and I'm curious if there is any response from Nintendo, because we've seen them be pretty litigious in general. I don't think they will be here, but I can't imagine they're very happy about what's going on with all of this. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Is Dbrand trolling Nintendo, or is this just, a marketing tactic that we are now seeing more and more companies and just people in general at times who are selling these online that they're taking advantage of? Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.